Hello, this is Dr. Jimmy, and today I'd like to share with you oh dear. Sorry about that. I'm not quite all there yet. Let's see. There I am. Sorry about that. I was out rather late last night, and I've got such a splitting headache. There we are. Hello, we are Dr. Jimmy, and we'd like to share with you all secrets of Halloween Horror Nights 23 revealed. Oh, I can see some of you might be a tad skeptical. Indeed, you might think I'm speaking out of both sides of my mouth at the same time. Well, it's true. Last year, at this time, April 1st, I gave a video called All Secrets of Halloween Horror Nights 22 Revealed, and I did the same thing the year before, didn't I? And both of those did turn out to be April Fool's pranks, after all. So, I will now come out and tell you from the very get-go that this video, and the subsequent ones, because God knows I can't get it all done in one shot, it's his fault, not mine, it's his fault, is indeed an April Fool's prank. That's right. I'm letting you know from the get-go, from the head of it, that this is an April Fool's prank. Everything that I make, everything that I say, every word in this video, every statement that I make is completely false. It's a joke, it's a lie. I don't say one word that's true, including everything I've said up till now. But wait a minute. Wait a minute. If everything he says is a lie, then that means that when he says it's a lie, that's a lie, which means it has to be true. But if it's true, and everything he says is a lie, then it can't be true. But if everything he says is a lie, and he says it's a lie, then it has to be true. Illogical, illogical. Oh dear. I've got you in a quandrum. I've got you in a quagmire. You could even say I've got you in a pair of docks. That's right. Oh, sorry. That was really awful, Dr. Jimmy. Sorry about that. Yes. So now you won't know if it's true or not. Because there was Penn and Teller last year, right? Yeah, so you're thinking every time I say something, that sounds damn silly, that's got to be a joke. But wait a minute. What if it isn't? Oh no! Whether you're gullible like him or skeptical like me, it won't matter. I've got you. Ha 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 ha. April Fools. Alright then, let's get on with it. As some of you may know, last year there was some political drama going on backstage. We won't go into details because it would be inappropriate. But as a result, the whole event was handed over to California, and they ran the event out of there to some degree. It was a cost-cutting measure to some degree as well, because they could get the same intellectual property signed up to work for both coasts. But nevertheless, there were continuing difficulties in some emergency situations, such as entire buildings that were going to be used for houses being demolished. And the Orlando people had to, pull some stuff out of their hat at the last minute. And they did such a superlative job. They did such a marvelous creating the House of Horrors at the last minute and putting it together and making it quite successful. And of course, the Horror Unearthed game That was so popular and well done that they impressed the right people. And so, before the event was even over last year, they said, hey, you guys got it this year. You don't have to worry about being told what to do by someone over in LA. You've got it this time. The ball is back in your court. You will do your own event next year, following some of the plans you had before. And Mike Aiello and the boys all got together on Halloween night and started planning Halloween Horror Nights 23 right away. And they even posted a photograph of this on Aiello's Facebook. So you know it's true. But if it's true and everything he said was a lie, that did enough of that earlier. All right, now, some of the plans that they had from the year before were put back into effect to have the event at 2 parks. That was part of the original plan for Halloween Horror Nights 22. It was to use, like they did in 2004, to have portions of IOA and USF and have a 2-part concept. And they were going to have 8 houses originally, but then after the Hollywood thing, it went down to 1 park and 7 houses, as we all know. So they thought, okay, we're going to use the 2-part concept this year and 2013. But they had another scenario that they already had. Another scenario in mind that they'd been planning for quite some time. So it was very easy for them to start right away on Halloween night because they had a lot of plans already going for this year, 2013, from a while back. Now, some of you may recall, back in the year 2010, they had this really nifty VIP lounge set up in the Café La Bamba. Yes. And at the Café La Bamba, those of you who'd pay a little extra money to go in, you could meet members of Arts and Design and see all sorts of nifty things, maquettes and, no, not monkeys, little statues. Maquettes and design drawings and artwork for production design, for all sorts of things for the past 20 years before of Halloween Horror Nights. Little videos and all sorts of things, finding out about icons that were never used, and it was really cool. And during that time, they had these question-answer sessions where you could actually ask all sorts of intriguing questions. And I just happened to attend a couple of these, but on one of them, something occurred to me, and I raised my hand, and I said, okay, we're celebrating 20 years of fear, right, this year, 2010. And I know that in a couple years, in 2012, the whole company is going to be celebrating the 100th anniversary of Universal Studios, because it was founded in 1912 by Carl Laemmle. But I also know that in, I think it was March of the year 1913, that the very young Universal Studios, not even a year old, made their first gothic horror film. It was a short because they only did Nickelodeon type things, but it was a film called Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde, which can be seen as the very first Universal Studios horror film ever made. And that means that 2013 will be the 100th anniversary of Universal Horror. So will there be any plans, whether from the company itself or here or anywhere, to commemorate that 100-year anniversary of the Universal Classic Monsters, of Universal Horror, and that whole tradition? And Rick Spencer took my question, and he said, well, I think you just gave us the theme for 2013. Halloween Horror Nights 23. And there was a lot of laughing and clapping, and everyone was sick. But here's the thing. Rick wasn't joking! They really did think that was a nifty idea. And so they had begun planning back then in 2010 that in 2013 they would indeed do an event based on the 100-year anniversary of Universal Horror. In other words, me, Dr. Jimmy, gave them the idea for this year's event. I'm rather proud of that, actually. It's Halloween Horror Nights 23, a century of scares. A century of scares, yes. And the event is too big to be held in only one park. It'll be in both Islands of Adventure and Universal Studios Florida. The portions of Islands of Adventure and Universal Studios Florida that will be used, well, on Universal Studios Florida, they're going to use Production Central area, New York, Hollywood Boulevard, San Francisco, all of that area. They will not, however, be using, of course, the what had been Amity, but now is going to, oh, I don't know, some new area that can be seen stretching off, oh, dare I say, diagonally from the rest of the park. That's a bad joke as Paradox. And the World Expo, you know, Simpsons, Men in Black area, and Kids Zone. None of that's going to be used. So mostly it's going to be in the front of the park. All right? So the rides that will be operating will be like, you know, the Rock and Roller Coaster or Despicable Me. But you won't have Simpsons. You won't have that whole half of the park will be off. No Men in Black this year. So that's the part they're going to be using for the studios. Now, for Islands of Adventure, it'll be similar to what happened in 2004. You're going to have Port of Evil, and you're going to have Marvel Superhero Island, Toon Lagoon, going into Jurassic Park. And on the other side, Seuss Landing will be, you could walk through it, but not much is going to be going on there. And then a little bit of the Lost Continent, not very much of it, but just a little bit of it, so they have access to some of the houses. And then, the whole part of it, that's like the Arabian Nights section, because the rest, of course, Wizarding World of Harry Potter will not be used at all, so that'll be closed off. So that's what we've got then. So it's a lot of IOA, a bit of USF, and it comes together to make the area for the event this year. So now I should get on with describing what you really want to hear about. The houses! You all want to know about the bleeding houses. Well, here's something that'll startle you. Do you know how many houses they've got this year? 8? Not 7, 8? You're on. No, it's not going to be 8 houses. No! They're not going to go down to 7 again this year? Don't worry. It'll be more than 7. But not 8. Oh my God! 9 houses? No, sorry. No, that's right. 10! 10 houses! 10 houses! How the hell are they going to pull off 10 houses? Well, it's 2 parks, and they've got lots and lots of places to put them, you see now. Oh my goodness, that's right. 10 houses. Now, 7 of these officially will be at Islands of Adventure, that is to be entered from that side, and the other 3 will be entered from Universal Studios Florida, except those other 3 are really more like 4, because one of them is a dual run house. Yes, the first dual run house since 1998. So it's going to almost be 11 houses. Oh my God, they took it to 11. Yes, almost. So let's stop talking about the houses. And the houses, of course, just like the whole event, are keyed with the history of Universal Horror and the whole, that's right, the whole century of horror for Universal Studios. Now, the first one then at Universal Studios Florida, let's see, the very first one. Well, actually, let me describe one that's at IOA first. This will be in Soundstage 20, but the entranceway will be from Islands of Adventure. And the entranceway will most likely be somewhere around Cat in the Hat or something, and you'll have to go across a bridge and go to the sound stages from that side. And there will be, on Islands of Adventure side, you'll have the entrance to a house called Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. And this was this of course commemorates the very first film that was released by Universal Studios in the horror genre. But it's going to amp up the whole Jekyll and Hyde scenario for the 21st century. This would be demented psychotic killer, blood and gore everywhere. It'll be quite horrific. It'll be very extreme version of Jekyll and Hyde. Very different from anything that's ever been seen before. Now they tried to revive it on television on NBC, which was actually Universal production, a series called Do No Harm with I think it was Jason Cole. Get it? J. Cole. That show was on like twice and then it got cancelled. It wasn't extreme enough, you see. They aren't going to make that mistake in this house. They're going to make it really gory and bloody and malevolent. It should be quite freaking awesome. Right. Now, the next house will be the dual run house that'll be accessible from Universal Studios Florida, the first dual run house in a long time. It's going to be called Man of 1,000 Faces, and it will feature to commemorate the history of Lon Chaney. That's the elder Lon Chaney, not his son. And two of his most memorable film roles. One run of the house will be The Hunchback of Notre Dame, and the other run of the house will be the Phantom of the Opera. And as you're going in the queue toward the house, it'll be a point somewhere it splits in two. Yeah, splits into two queues, and one will go in one run and the other will go in the other run, you see. And if you go into the Hunchback side, you have to make that decision as you're going up, and then you have to come back and get the queue again to go on the other one. So it's really two in one house, two in one, get it? So the so on the one side you're going to have brilliantly recreated scenes from the Hunchback of Notre Dame with the Gothic cathedral, and it's not going to be like the House Gothic last year. It's not all gargoyles. It's going to be much more intense, and you're going to have like this flogging scene where Quasimodo is on the wheel, if you saw the movie, and they're going to actually somehow make it seem like he's pouring boiling oil down on the crowd from above. Through a very clever illusion. It's going to come pouring down and you go, oh my God, but it won't actually even get wet, but it will seem like something horrible is being poured down towards you. And then there's of course the dancing girl with her goat, and she gets burnt at the stake and all that ghastly stuff, and the tomb of Quasimodo at the end. And then if you go into the other side, you're going to go into the Phantom of the Opera, and they've done amazing illusions in there as well. You'll have the Grand Opera House and the staircase and the Red Death scene, and you're going to have the going down into the catacombs. You go through the mirror into the down, and they actually have the Phantom and the girl in the boat. How they're going to make it look like there's a lake underneath. It really will make you feel like there's a lake there, and they're going to, and then of course the various torture devices, the noose that gets you, and all these incredible things will be seen from the movie inside the ride. I mean, not ride, the house. They're brilliantly done. And the little scene that they had of the Phantom a couple times in previous houses will be nothing compared to this. This is grand operatic stuff. All right. Now, so I've described 2 or maybe 3 of the houses, but I'm getting close to the 20-minute mark, and I don't want to exceed that. So it's time to go to part 2.